Ladies and gentlemen, this School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 185-pound weight class and is brought to you by Spectacular Hot Tubs and Billiards. And now, let's meet the fighters. He's fighting out of Kenora, Ontario. He is Gene Hakenson.
Gene Hakenson comes down to the cage to start his amateur debut. I asked him about stepping into the cage and how it would feel and whether or not he'd feel any of those butterflies about coming into the cage the first time. He said he's spending too much time visualizing winning rather than thinking about how he's going to feel when the cage door closes.
You know, that's the perfect mentality. You really don't want to overthink going into the cage. It's just going to stress you out. There's absolutely no reason for that.
He's been training for over a year now. Feels like he's got a well-rounded game. Doesn't feel like he specifically trains any one discipline. Likes to work all aspects equally.
Yeah, you can't just come into the cage with only a Muay Thai background or only a Jiu-Jitsu background. You need to come in a well-rounded fighter. So, you know, it's refreshing to hear that. Like, he is a mixed martial artist, and that's exactly what you aim for to put in the cage. Fighters that know all aspects of the game, not just one part of it. Because, I mean, you could have a slugfest standing, and as soon as it goes to the ground, it becomes a brutal matchup, and you really don't want that.
So Gene Hakenson gets into the cage. He's set to go 185 pounds, the weight class for this bout.
And his opponent. He's fighting out of Calgary, Alberta. This is Ryan Niddery.
Ryan Niddery comes in an independent, and you said, Jordan, about coming in as a well-rounded fighter. In talking to Ryan Niddery last night, he said that he's a Muay Thai fighter. That's what he does. He fights Muay Thai, and now he's changing into MMA, making his amateur debut. Says he'd like to keep this fight on his feet if he can, because he's not familiar with the ground game too well. Says he's working on it, but it's not his strongest aspect. And it's interesting to hear a fighter admit that, because I'll tell you, most times sitting down, they'll tell me, I'll fight anywhere, I'll fight everywhere. And Ryan Niddery fully willing to admit that he wants to keep this standing.
You know, that's not the greatest thing to hear. I mean, if this fight goes to the ground, he might be in a lot of trouble. But, you know, he's a fit, in-shape guy. You know, maybe he'll handle his own on the ground. But, I mean, you don't come into a mixed martial arts fighter as a Muay Thai fighter.
And now for the official fighter introductions. In the onside restoration blue corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 20 years old and stands 6 feet 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 185.4 pounds, fighting out of United Fighter MMA from Kenora. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Gene Hakenson. And in the Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse red corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 22 years old and stands 6 feet 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 185.6 pounds, fighting independently from Calgary. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Ryan Niddery. This fight will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Mark Aparicio.
Gentlemen, the center. Okay, gentlemen, been over the fight, been over the rules in the dressing room. Want you to fight fair, fight hard, obey my commands at all times. If you want to touch gloves, do it now.
Ryan, keep those hands up and move.
So Ryan Niddery getting coaching advice from the coaches at Dynamic MMA. who said they feel bad that the kid trains as an independent, want to get him into the gym, and hoping that he can do well here. They touch gloves. Niddery in the black trunks, Hakenson in the white trunks, and Niddery lands the first big strike as Hakenson tried to come in. A right hand, that Muay Thai striking really coming into play early here, and a takedown attempt from Hakenson, but a nice sprawl from Niddery.
You know, Niddery looks very comfortable standing. If he can sprawl and brawl, this is going to be his fight for sure.
Already a cut under the eye of Hakenson. It shows you the striking power of Niddery as he gets in and lands those big strikes early, and Hakenson is down and Niddery is swarming. Punches raining down. Niddery is landing all kinds of punches here. Hakenson is covering up. This fight is over. Niddery is the winner in dramatic fashion. Hokenson's nose looks to be broken from the way he is pouring blood out of his face right now. A trouble spot here for Hakenson, although doing some cage respect there, staying in one place so they don't have to go all over the cage to clean up the blood. But a bad way is Ryan Hakenson here. Ryan Niddery, a very impressive fighter.
You know, Hakenson looked very, very nervous at the get-go. You know, when you start bleeding early and you're nervous, you know, that all just starts to pile up. He did not look like he really got into his groove, didn't feel very comfortable, and it's a shame the fight didn't go any longer because we never really got the opportunity to see this Kenora fighter fight. And Jesse Bongfeld's squad drops to 0-2 right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by Spectacular Hot Tubs and Billiards. The winner by TKO due to referee stoppage at 44 seconds in the very first round. In the red corner, Ryan Niddery.
Heck of a performance for your amateur debut. You said to me last night at the weigh-ins, you didn't want this fight to get to the ground. You wanted to rely on your striking. You were certainly able to do that.
Yeah, mainly that's what I was after. Just keeping it on my feet, strike them down, that was it. Sprawl away from everything.
How encouraging was it? I mean, you opened up a cut on him with the first punch. Does that just open a target for you?
Yeah, start there, and once you smell blood, kill.
Now, you're an independent, you're fighting independently. Looks like a good audition tape if any of the gyms want to pick you up, but obviously you got some people in your corner tonight.
Yeah, show it to my boys. They're always there for me. Drove a long way to come with me, and this one's for them.
Ryan Niddery, ladies and gentlemen.